Okay, so I hope it is all fine now. But I'm going to tell the Tomb Raider forums .com forums that I am online again because I didn't want this kind of technical issue, and I hope it is all fine now with this new options. I do not know why, but here in the Hangout, my audio was like this. But I haven't touched the audio here, so I don't know why my audio was so low. I hope it will be all fine now. Let me see what is it going on in the streaming. If it is all fine or not. But I haven't touched the audio here, so I don't know why my audio was so low. I hope it will be all fine now. Again, even if I select the sharing of the screen, I see that in the in the streaming the screen is not being shared. So again, I told the Hangout to do a combination of my screen, and I hope it is all fine now. Okay, now I see my my screen online. Okay, so we can go on. Okay, in the previous tutorial, as I told that we can I have created this kind of this plan. I'm going to do it again, so you'll be see very soon what I did. Okay, I created a plan using the snap So I know that I'm going to have a subdivision of the of this plan 39 and 35. So I know that this plan I snap it to the grid. This plan has each of its polygon or its square corresponding to the grid, which is corresponding to this kind of grid of the Tomb Raider level editor of NGLE. After this, to have an easy texturization, I know that that when I select a completely tile of 256 pixels and in wide 256i in TRLE, I can texture this this room this way very fastly. I want this kind of texturization. Here. To have this kind of texturization here, I can use a modifier here called UVW map, and selecting face. In fact, if I choose, for example, this tile for 0 for 14, and apply this this texture to this material to this plane, I have exactly that texturization. This is the texture. But I don't like it now. but I'm doing this only to show you some things. Okay, I undo this operation. I apply an edit mesh modifier, and I select with Ctrl A all of the edges. I want all of those edges as visible. In this way, all the edges, even all the diagonals among each of the polygons, each of the square, are visible and can be edited. It is like if I add the chains to have these triangles we have in NGLE, but flat, not with one of the triangles raised up. It is good to have this kind of triangulation, because I'm going to do a few things. I want to create a lake like this, I want to create a lake like this with it is a plane with all in it, which is the lake itself, the water surface itself. And to have this, I'm going to select some of the triangles here. For example, those ones, those ones, those ones, those ones, those ones, those ones, those ones. Okay. And I'm going to tell the engine to detach this surface. So this is the hole we have. Pressing Alt and Q key, we go in the edit isolation mode, so I can see only the triangle, only the object I am editing. But I want that this kind of subdivision uses the opposite diagonal, because I don't like this this corner. To do this, I go in the edge selection, and I choose to turn the diagonals. It is the diagonals among two polygons. For example, I can use this one. I can use this one. No, I like this one. This one. This is fine. This is not. This is fine. Okay. Okay. So after I did all of this in the entire plane, choosing the ones I want to turn, the diagonals I want to turn, I can select the triangles I want to off from this plan. Want off from this plan. For example, those ones. This one. Those ones. Again. Those ones. This is the third time I did this tutorial, because all things went wrong the first time. So forgive me if I do things a bit faster. Turn. Okay. I can use this one. Turn. Okay. 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 Let's say that this is fine. Okay. I do add a touch. A touch. Okay. Okay. So I can I have this one, okay. I can attach the other polygons I had attached from the main plane. I do a weld, so we don't have duplicated vertices. For example, here we have 2 vertices. I select Ctrl A to select them all, and I do a weld with .1 tolerance. Okay, so I don't have any more here 2 vertices, but I have vertices 3 selected. First, before the welding, we had 558 vertices selected. After the weld, we have 502 vertices selected. So it is earning some resources and not wasting them. Okay, I want this this lake surface, this water surface, to be one click lower than the floor, than the floor of the terrain. So I use the move tool and I move it to 1 click, which is 1/4 of a sector in the TRLE, which is 1/4 of unity. 1 divided for 4 is 0.25. Yes, but with a negative number, obviously. Okay, I want to create any regular shape. To have any regular shape, you know that when I raise with the Tomb Raider level editor a few sectors, I can raise 1 click or 2 click or 3 click or 4 clicks, obviously. No, right? So I'm going to do this. Very fastly in this surface. I'm going to do this here randomly, because this is a naturalistic environment done in the savannah, an African environment. So location. So I'm going to do this randomly. I select the absolute mode. So you can write the quantity you want to raise all those vertices this way, for example. Then I do another random selection, and I raise all of this, for example, of half of a click, half of a sector, which is this one. Okay, I do all of this again here, randomly, really randomly, but you can do this carefully. Now I'm doing this really randomly because again, this is the 3rd time I do this tutorial. I raise this of 1 click, and I have again a really random shape, terrain. But as you can see, there is all between the terrain and the surface, and the surface of the water. And obviously, the terrain goes down here, and I'm going to create some caves here. So to have initially this kind of terrain below the water surface, I convert this firstly as an editable mesh. Then I apply an edit poly modifier, and I select the border. The border is a selection of the open, closed edges. This means that the border are open because all these border have one polygon on one of their side, but do not have another polygon to close the same border. But this border is closed because it forms it creates a closed line, a closed spline, as you can see. I selected this border, and I'm going to pressing to create a border this way, pressing Shift keyboard key on the keyboard, Shift key on the keyboard, and holding the key mouse to move the border. I want this to create a border of one click. So I press the snap and I move this border half of a click, as you can see in the zeta field of the 3dsmax. Okay, again I want to do another border, for example this way, but I want it to be only one click high. So the zeta coordinates must be 5. Okay, as you can see. Again, another border, just to show you. And this must be one sector. So one sector has the coordinates 1.5. In fact, if I want to see the coordinates of this pi or this vertices, it has 0 coordinates, 0 zeta. One click below, 2 click below the 0 coordinates. So this difference is just one click. This is just one click, and this should be one sector. So one sector, how much it should be? Minus 1.5. Let's see. Let's check it. And it is 1.5 below the surface, not below the surface, below the 0 coordinate, below the zeta 0 coordinates. The surface, in fact, is this one. Okay. So I'm not going to use all of this, or maybe yes, I don't know. So I'm going to hide them for now. I go in the display tab and I say hide selected. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to texturize this water surface. I have some problem in the. Okay, I'm going to texturize this water surface. I have already water texture that I like, and I'm going to pick it up from one of my previous levels that I'm already building. This is not a released level, but I'm going to release it in the second part. Okay, so I take these three water textures, I copy them, and I pass them here. I want to give them an incremental number, so I rename them as 0, 21, 0, 22, 0, 23. Okay, so this is going to be my water texture. Okay, I go again in 3dsmax. I create a new texture. Sorry, I create a new texture. I call it 021 because I know that my texture is 021.bmp, and I paste this one in the opacity channel, copy in the opacity channel. So this is going to be transparent, but for many reasons, I choose two-sided. Obviously, you can see a difference. You can spot the difference. For many reasons. One of them you will see toward the middle of this tutorial, not today, but in the future tutorials. I choose to force the opacity, not the 100%, but about 60%. Not too many. 70%. Okay, 70%. Okay, so it will 75. Okay, so this is surely opaque, but not completely. And I'm going to paste this material here to this surface. This is going to be completely transparent. This is a little bug we have in 3dsmax. I simply reload this file, and this is not completely opaque. Okay, as you can see, this plan that forms the surface of the water is textured, having each of its polygon one texture tile. But this is not fine. This is not fine because I don't want this kind of texturization for this. So I'm going to first of all adding a different subdivision. I go here and I press Turbo Smooth, so I have a much more detailed object. But here there is some problem. Okay, I want iteration Turbo Smooth, but I don't want to have the smooth result. No, okay. So the Turbo Smooth is going to have this kind of artifacts, which I do not like. So I'm not going to use Turbo Smooth anymore, the late. I'm going to use the Mesh Smooth. Okay, telling I don't want smoothness. Okay, zero smoothness. Okay, so I apply an edit mesh. Oh my god, okay. 5, 5. What happens here? No, okay. Turbo Smooth wants to have the smoothness this way, but I want no tension. Okay, so this is not good, and this is not good. Let me see if the tessellate should work. Tessellate, okay, okay, the tension. Okay, I don't want tension. Okay, and I want always polygons. Okay, oh, so now it's all fine. Okay, but the texturization is not what I like. In fact, if I go in the unwrap UV, I have that this the polygons are textured this way, which I do not like. Why I don't like them? Because first of all, my texture is this one, and only this quadrant, this part of the texture, which is 128 pixels, is going to use the animation range we know to have here. I know we can have all the completely tile for the texturization. That is for the animation ranges. That is 255 56 pixel for each side. But as I did this animation range with 4 with 4 tiled textures. I'm going to use only this part, this first part for the texturization. In another level, for example, if I'm correct, if I'm correct here, I used a 12 tiles, and each tile had a completely tile in the animation. Each texture was each tile of the animation range was a completely texture tile of 56. Now I'm going to use some texture which are of 4 parts. So going here, I select these textures, these polygons. I do select tools, detach edge vertices. I select these ones. I select tools, detach edge vertices. So all of those textures are now detached from the others. And I can select them, and they correspond to this one, to this part of the texture. If I select them, they correspond to this one. I select here, they correspond to this one. I select here, they correspond to this one. I want them to use only this part of the texture. So I'm going to move them from their position. I'm going to move this from their position. I'm going to use them to move them from their position. I go in the vertices selection mode, and then I go here, and I move them here, and I move them here. Okay, but as I told you previously, but maybe it was in one of those tutorials that were not good. We have some UV coordinate zones to respect. As you can see here, we can have here we have a texture which is applied normally in face edit. Here I have a texture applied normally, but with a double-sided, so it can be seen both the side in front and in its back. Here we have a texture which is textured double-sided, but even transparent. So you can see transparently and double-sided. And here we have a texture which we have transparent, but not, it cannot be seen on its backside. So it is transparent, but not double-sided. We have to respect these areas. Here we have the column of the normal that is not double-sided texturization, and here we have the column of the double-sided. Here we have the magenta texture, that is the texture they use in the Tomb Raider editor. The magenta, this is one texture that uses the magenta, and it is applied here normally, as you can see here, normally, and here it is applied as double-sided. Okay, I'm going to apply here transparent double-sided here. So here it is. I'm going to apply it only transparent but not double-sided here. So you can see that we have all the combinations, and we have to understand where we want to use our texture. Normally we use it this part of the zone of the UV coordinates. But now I'm going to use some water surface. So where do I have to texturize? Do I have to put those coordinates? I have to put those coordinates in the double-sided surely, because the water is going to be watched from the surface and below the water itself. But I want the full alpha transparency because I want the water to be completely transparent. So I'm going to put the texture in this area, the UV infos in this area. I go in 3dsmax and I'm going to put this texture is here. You don't see any different here because the texturization, the texture is repeated. This is the normal area. This is the normal area. This is the column for the double-sided, and this is the line for the completely transparent texture, for the alpha channel texture. Okay. How can I be sure that this texture is going to have the same texturization we have in the animation range file later? Because I used the snap. I went to the display, to the option preferences, and I told the grid size to be 1/8 of the tile, that is half of a click, and the snap 1/8 of the unit of the grid of the sector, which is of the TRLE sector, which is 1/2 of a click, which is 1/8 of a sector. Okay, then I select this snap. I can choose the snap to the grid and vertices and the snap to the pixels. I choose normally the snap to the grid and to the vertices. And I saved this configuration telling save current setting as default. So each time I press the unwrap, edit, I have the central viewing of the UV coordinates. I have the snap already enabled, and I have the grid with 1/2 of click. So this is 1 click 8 and 4 click white. This is half of a sector high and 1 sector wide. This is half of a sector, and I have, because this is selected, a snap to the vertices. As you can see, when I approach here, it snaps to the vertices, and it snaps to the grid itself, to the line, and to the crossing, to crosses. Okay, I don't need this one, delete. So the water is ready, unless a few things I'm going to tell you when we will be working with MetaSequoia much later in the editing. I'm going to edit to texturize this. First of all, I convert this to editable mesh. I'm going to edit to texturize this this terrain. When I was offline, I created some textures. I'm going to show you. I don't remember where I saved them. Okay, I call it erba, which in Italian means grass. Okay, this is the text I'm going to use for that terrain, but I'm going to use some variation with some stones. This is for the diagonals. This is for another variation I did, and this is again another variation. I'm going to use all of them. So to do things fast, I'm going to those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variations of the same textures. So calculate 5 multiplied 512. I have to build a texture which is 2560 pixels. Okay, file, new, wide and A0. Okay. Okay. So okay. I put it here. I copy and paste it here. This is the first variation. I copy it and paste it here. This is the third variation. I copy and paste it here. Sorry, don't paste it here. No, sorry. I copy and paste it here. Okay. And the last variation. I copy and I paste it here. Okay. And I can close this one without saving. Okay, I weld all, I flatten all those layers, pressing Ctrl-Shift-E, so they are all flattened. I choose the sections tool. I create a big huge section. Then I click with the right click of the mouse, divide section. I want to divide it horizontally, doing textures of 256, and I want to divide it vertically of 256. Okay, so I have 20 textures that I'm going to save. File, save for web and dispositive and devices. This is the textures as they are going to be saved. I choose JPEG maximum and 100% for quality, and I say save. I choose my directory, which is yes, and then okay, and it has saved me. It's saved for me all those textures in this way, but they are not ready because they are JPEG in the JPEG format. So I close this file because I don't need it. There's no need to save it. I'm going to automatize a batch for it. I created first an action which I called save in BMP. I choose a folder. The folder I'm going to use is this one. PS Erba. Imagine. Okay, and I'm going to save them in the real textures folder. The next texture type I'm going to use is 024. So So I have to set that the name must be tile. Then must follow a number, a serial number or three letters, and then my initial number must be 024. Okay, and Photoshop will do all this job. It's going to do all this job. Okay, so I'm going to check if this happened correctly, and in fact I have all the textures here. All the 24 textures. So it is all fine. I'm going to use these textures here in this plane, in this floor. So I'm going to reset material editor. So I have exactly 24 textures. By the way, I can clean multi-materials, and there is one material to clean. Okay. So first one, standard maps. This one, I choose bitmap. I go into my folder. I choose all files for now, and the first one is 24. Okay. 24. I'm going to call this material tile 024.bmp and make it visible in the viewport. I can do this thing for every material. 25, 25, 27, 27, 26, sorry, and 27, 27, 27. I'm going to do all of this for all the materials, but now I will tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, the orientation is this one. I'm going to select all those polygons. For example, those ones. And if anything went wrong when I created this terrain, if I apply this, okay, I should have the same orientation of the texture tiles. In fact, it is fine. Okay, so I selected this one. Okay. I choose this one. This is exactly the shape of the texture. That's why I put them in this order and not in this order, because in this way I have the vision of how the texture must be applied. Okay, the fifth one and the fourth one. I'm not going to show you how I texturize all of this, but I want to show you one of the things I have done, at least, to let you know why I've done that. Okay, this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I have applied. I want to apply this kind of text, which seems weird, but it is not, because I'm going to use this part of these textures for to connect with the grass, and this part of the texture to connect with the stones. I'll show you how now. Okay, this one. 29, 29, 29, 30, 30, 30, 31, and 31. Okay, and now that texture, okay, which is 32, if I'm correct. Yes, 32, 32, 32, 33, 32, 34, 34, and the last one. This is a bit boring, but it must be done. I won't bore you I won't bore after I show you this. I won't bore you, so I will go offline and finish to texturize this by myself. What I want to show you is this one. Okay, I'm going to use these textures to texturize this part. Okay, one. I use this one. As you can see, this touches only this texture, and I can use this one, the corresponding one, which is this one. Here I can texturize with this. Okay, here I can texturize with this, but here I can texturize with this, and here I can texturize with this. So as you can see, there is a seamless variation. Okay, I'm going to do this again here. For example, I can texturize here this one with this, here with this, here with this, and here with this. Okay, let me see if there are seams. There are no seams. Okay, so I'm going to texturize this with this part, so this one is this one, this part is this one, this part is only this one, and this part is the corresponding this one, the corresponding this one, the corresponding this one. So there is no seam, and it is all fine. Okay, so I leave you for now. I'm going to texturize this all by myself, so it won't be boring, and try to do some exercise by yourself. I'm going to show you more of this tutorial tonight or tomorrow. See you. Bye bye.